If you are dying or you feel like you're continually losing matches, you might not even realize that this has not so much to do with your specific skill set, but maybe it's just the legend you are using. It sounds crazy, but sometimes finding the right legend to main is actually not even the first step that you need to be taking, so let's break it down. But first, if you have not tried it out yet, you need to check out the sponsor of today's video, Outplayed. Downloading and using Outplayed lets you instantly and automatically record all or portions of your gameplay, select the games you wish to record from that 300 plus game library, the quality, and just let it do its thing. Outplayed removes the need for those pesky editing softwares and streamlines the entire experience of clipping, editing, and sharing your content. I'm continuing to review and comment on your clips in my Discord, so send them in and check out the link in the pinned comment and description for more. Big thanks to them for sponsoring the video. The first thing you'll want to really get down is a complete change in thought process when it comes to the legends in Apex. You'll want to focus on what you want to achieve, not per se the legend, but rather the playstyle. Not understanding or identifying what you like is an okay problem to have, and we do have a solution for this, but if you can't identify how you want to play, it's going to go a long way in unlocking a whole nother level of skill for your game. Second to this, you absolutely do not need a main legend, but the best reason to pick one legend to play is someday you'll have a mastery level of skill in that legend and their mechanics, which means approaching different engagements will just be easier and you'll be better because you know how your character is going to perform. Battle Royales have RNG that you'll never be able to beat, but if you can develop a level of consistency in your game, this is a literal cheat code to just winning more. There is a reason why pro players play the same legend over and over across rank grinding, scrims, and tournaments at high level play, not because per se that they want to play one legend, but because they become very proficient and excellent in that legend and their role or play style in the team. If you are unsure as to what legend you want to play, that is absolutely fine. I highly recommend that you start with a few legends in different categories we are going to go over. This way you can see what you may like, and then you can start to narrow it down from this. Also, it's definitely a good idea to get a set of 3 legends that you can rotate through in case your main gets picked, or if you need to fill another role in the squad, depending on the mode, the map, or your team's composition. The main goal here is for you to be in complete control of your game by dictating the playstyle that you want to achieve and not letting a specific legend control how you want to play. As we go over the legends, just know that some legends fall into multiple playstyles, but in general, they have a core functionality that is best achieved through playing in one specific way. And ultimately, I'm here to just guide you, not make the decision for you, but if you do have any questions, hit that like button and drop a comment down below, and I will do my best to help you out. We kick things off with arguably the most important role in the squad, and this is the team leader legends, as these 2 legends are truly great to help guide the squad and tell others where they should be moving. Their abilities also help them achieve this role, and every squad is going to greatly benefit from someone acting as a point person or leader, because the only thing worse than choosing to do something wrong or poorly is not having anyone to make any decision at all. The first legend is Season 9's Valkyrie. Valkyrie saw major nerfs at the start of Season 14, but she basically functions the same as she did before, just her power ceiling was reduced. She's an incredible legend to get you and the team around with her ultimate, and beyond this, her passive VTOL jets are very good for you to maneuver around and figure out where you need to go or just scout for enemies. Valkyrie's mobility is really what's going to let her excel within the meta of Apex, and not to mention, she's a great power aggressive legend as well. Second to Valkyrie is the old school OG Wraith. Wraith may not have the same rotational power or mobility as Valkyrie, but Wraith still excels in getting around due to her small hitbox size and her tac tool, which can be used to get from point A to point B in open areas. Really, Wraith has that old school Apex feel to get around and be very active in scouting. Her portal ain't too bad either to help you get the team through more open areas at endgame when movement can be a little bit tricky. Both Wraith and Valkyrie each have their own perks when it comes to Apex, and I recommend Wraith on a smaller map like KC or Olympus, and Valkyrie on larger maps like World's Edge or Stormpoint. We do have another 2 legends rocking in what I consider to be the good time category, and while fun is subjective, I often find these legends have die-hard fan bases who can make more out of these legends than most, which at times shows their offensive power and creative playmaking possibilities. The first is none other than Mirage. Mirage continues to be a little bit lower on the power scale, but in the right environment and with the right player, Mirage is the legend for you if you want to have a good laugh at people when you do bamboozle them. Additionally, with this, if you want a very creative and free type of play style, Mirage definitely fits this, and don't sleep on his playmaking potential. He just requires a little bit more work and thought to get to the spot where he can be decent. And second to this is going to be the opposite of Mirage, and it is Revenant. Revenant might not be quirky and silly, but rather he is the assassin. Revenant's fun and power comes from his creativity with his surroundings, as he can use buildings and certain areas of terrain to just outplay his opponents through flanking with his passive climbing. Additionally, the Silence Orb is one of the only ways to lock down basically every top tier legend in the game, and if you can, throw an Octane in there to have some good fun and laughs with the Death Totem. Revenant has been both better and worse in the past, and he may require a good team comp to excel with, but he still definitely has his moments, and a lot of times it's pretty satisfying. If you are a fan of slowing things down, fortifying up, and having enemies play into your hands, then the defensive category of Legends is for you. Rampart has come a long way in terms of her viability in Apex, and she is still one of the top Legends if you truly want to keep enemies out of your areas. Blocking up doorways and buildings can make it an extremely useful and powerful way for you to slow engagements and in turn, really just wear down your opponents. You can also do the opposite with Rampart and lock enemies in buildings with her walls, and really, she's a great Legend to make defensive and sometimes aggressive playmaking. Second to Rampart is one of the more traditional defensive Legends, and this is going to be Wattson. Wattson actually even has a hint of hybrid power in there with her ultimate generator, which can regenerate the squad's shields, but her true power does come from those fences, which are usable for a ton of different play options. They are a little bit easier to destroy than Rampart's walls, but the amount of fences that you do get to place down really allows for a lot more ways to slow enemies down and the ability to control a lot more area. The third and final defensive Legend is going to be Caustic. Caustic probably can fit the hybrid category of play, but truly, he is one of the best Legends to slow things down, and not only this, be able to make very effective counterplays. Fighting in Caustic Gas is an extremely frustrating thing to do, and oftentimes, players are going to get worn down and just push in without regard to their safety, which is a huge deal for Caustic and his team. Caustic's Gas Grenade is also a great way to force enemies to move, which again, can be used for defensive or aggressive purposes. Even the gas traps being destroyable is another way for you to make great counterplays when enemies are wasting rounds by destroying the gas traps. I find Caustic is kind of one of those Legends that can do it all, so don't sleep on him, but at his core, I think it's really all about slowing things down and defensive playmaking. We've got lots more to cover, but if you do want to forego playing with random players, you know what to do. Hop into the community Discord, and of course, you can chat with myself in there as well, as I do have a spot for you to ask any question that you might have. Apex Legends does not have a ton when it comes to the typical support Legends, but we do start with the Loot Queen Loba. Loba is honestly one of the best Legends to have on a team for both pubs and ranked in Apex, as in pubs, you'll be able to find more loot faster and get to the action faster, whereas in ranked, you can loot up from safety and even get some nice armor swaps in there. If you truly want to be that person in the squad who everyone loves to have, then Loba is probably the best pick. The second Legend is going to be the old school Lifeline. Lifeline is nowhere near what she used to be in the past, but if you want that Legend to bring the squad back from the brink of death and start to heal them right away, then her passive revives in the tactical drone is there to provide. Lifeline is not the greatest, and there are other Legends who may be considered a little bit better when it comes to a supportive nature, but at the core of it all, Lifeline is the singular traditional team support healer Legend. Hybrid Power, or the Flex Legends as I like to refer to them as, are the Legends who can be used for a slew of purposes in both aggressive, defensive, and sometimes even supportive ways. We start off with the Season 14 Legend of Vantage. Vantage fits a mix of the recon and information gathering and aggressive playstyle with her movement. The recon she can get is not only very useful, it's quick, as all you have to do is look at enemies and you'll instantly know how many players are alive and if they have good shields or not. Her tactical lets her get this information a little bit more freely by flying around, and in turn with this, her ultimate can be used to keep pressure and play pretty aggressively. Vantage is one of my current favorites if you are looking for a mix of that tactical info grabbing and aggressive playmaking. Second advantage is going to be Bangalore. Bangalore is absolutely struggling right now, especially with the amount of scanning abilities there are in Apex, but her passive, tactical, and ultimate all provide a nice mix of defensive and aggressive type of playmaking. Her hybrid nature really will let her be very multi-purpose in any engagement, and she can flip the switch in an instant to support the team or make those big plays. Third up is Gibraltar, and Gibraltar for me kind of seems more like a defensive Legend, but his abilities are all really useful in a ton of different ways. Be warned that Gibby takes a ton of skill to use, as timing is crucial when you are using Gibraltar. Understanding when to drop or not to drop that tactical dome shield can be the biggest difference between winning and losing. His ultimate also is good for defensive or aggressive playmaking to keep enemies away or force movement, and his gun shield is pretty insane for taking one-on-ones and poking without taking extra damage. Gibby is a crazy good Legend legend that anyone will benefit from his presence on their team, so be sure to pick him up. The final hybrid for my list is going to be Season 13's Newcastle. Newcastle honestly is just insane right now. Support the team with his mobile passive revives, maneuver and rotate with his tactical shield, and fortify buildings or leap to height with his ultimate. Not to mention getting an angle from height or firing down on enemies with Newcastle's ultimate is just an insane way for making aggressive plays. Newcastle is probably one of the best legends right now for general play, and you'd be silly to not consider using him as a must-have in any mode in your squad. Tactical playmaking, smart playmaking, and information gathering is up, and these are the legends for those who like to make informed plays, and honestly, one of these three legends is going to be more times than not in your squad. Starting with probably the weakest of the three, it is Crypto. Crypto may not really be great for the typical pushing and aggressive playmaking, but opening with an EMP for some damage and some passive drone scanning, it's a nice thing to have. Crypto's power really does come from his utility, seeing as he can be used for a lot of different things, and understanding how many teams are around or remotely picking up banners can make a pretty big difference. Second to Crypto is going to be Bloodhound. Bloodhound is the easiest of the tactical and information grabbing legends, seeing as all you really got to do is just hit one button and you get a crazy amount of intel. There is some skill required with understanding timing and knowing where to scan, but if you want a very aggressive legend who is at the top of the game, who also can get a lot of information for the team, Bloodhound's going to be it. Finally, we do have Season 10 Seer. Seer is a great playmaking legend who also has a tactical type of play. A good Seer will mean the difference between easy squad wipes through canceling enemies with the tactical scan and getting a ton of information with continual scans with his ultimate. And if you also want someone who can't see players through walls at a moment's notice, Seer's going to be it. We have a few legends in the category I like to refer to as these straight up warriors. These are oftentimes aggressive legends, but more reserved than some of the crazy movement legends out there. They are effective, but sometimes require a little bit more tactical play in terms of positioning and understanding the enemy's positioning. First is Mad Maggie. She excels with her tactical drill in getting enemies out of cover. This drill can actually do a lot of damage very quickly, which many players don't even realize it is happening. Once they are out of cover, a quick drop of the ultimate can be used to further disorient enemies, or in itself, move enemies from cover and just get to them faster. She does not per se have the typical movement of a legend like Pathfinder or Horizon, but Mad Maggie has come a long way this season and is a nice pick for someone looking for an aggressive legend who also has some tactical playmaking. A very similar legend to Mad Maggie is going to be Fuse, and I do think Fuse is maybe a little bit better when it does come to getting enemies to move and just farming damage. Farming damage with Fuse is very easy because you do get 2 knuckle clusters that also come back pretty often, which means locking down areas and forcing movement is going to happen more times than not. Not to mention an ultimate that can be very deadly to those caught inside of it, and it does have its moments. If you are all about causing chaos and explosiveness, Fuse is definitely your pick. The final legend for the warrior category is going to be Ashe. Ashe is still a great legend who maybe can fit into our next category, but she has a very passive aggressive playstyle that does require some thought into how she plays, mainly due to her passive allowing you to see where enemies die. This means being a little bit more tactical in terms of rotations, and understanding high ground or where enemies are is pretty important. This is emphasized through her ultimate, which will allow you to breach to high ground or enemy areas in pretty aggressive ways. Ashe is the legend for you if you want a playstyle where you can find enemies, trap them with the tactical, and kill them with the ultimate. We now move on to the legends who are pure aggressive legends who also are very mobile and flashy legends in terms of how they are played. They are the legends that like to style on their enemies, and they are very effective at what they do, which is eliminating their opponents. Octane kicks us off as the tried and true legend who stims into battle and eliminates those enemies with extreme ease, or is so far away from the team they die and get back to the lobby before you know what's happening. Regardless though, Octane is the legend for you to make those plays, and you can use that launch pad to get in and out of those areas, and he has a very free-flowing and natural playstyle that's going to let you focus on your gun skill. He's one of the most popular legends, which does show by his usefulness and his fun factor, or the flashy factor, as well. Second to Octane is going to be Pathfinder. Pathfinder's grapple is still what carries him into the aggressive and flashy playmaking category, as he kind of has the ability to approach situations with the most creativity out of any legend. The grapple is a non-linear movement ability, which helps him make plays in very interesting ways and stay very elusive, even for a walking refrigerator. Pathfinder also has the nice perk of zip lines, which can be used to get height, and again, just make a lot of plays in interesting ways. The third aggressive playmaking and flashy legend is going to be one of the top powerhouse legends in Apex right now, and it is Horizon. Horizon's movement is incredible to outplay enemies and just stay alive longer and longer. Her passive helps her get around corners and be more elusive, and her tactical lift is great to rain fire on enemies, move the squad around, gain high ground, reset fights, and a lot more. Horizon is truly one of those legends that is pretty tough to fight against, and even though she has been better in the past, she is still an absolute unit to have on the team and get those really flashy clips. Another thing that you will want to know when it comes to picking your main legend is to check out my legend tier list. This is going to tell you how every legend stacks up in the meta right now. Check it out, and happy gaming, legends.